Welcome to Photographing Washington State Parks. We are at Cape Disappointment State Park, a rather fascinating state park through the history of Washington and this territory even before U.S. settlers, American, English, European settlers came. Anyways, it's just an amazing place. A lot of people come here to photograph the waves crashing on the cliffs below the Cape Disappointment Lighthouse. But there is so much more to photograph at this state park. Right now we're at Beard's Hollow. Beard's Hollow is a marshy area that leads out to the beach, just north of North Head Lighthouse. And where am I? And we're gonna just check out. I was kind of hoping to see some birds out here, but I do see a rather nice little vignette of a couple of rocks and a tree and some of the marsh waters. I do hear birds, but today we're going to explore. It's a very short visit today. I'll be here tomorrow morning very early, but we're just going to explore and show you some of the really fascinating things you can photograph here beyond waves crashing on the cliffs. As I mentioned, we're at Beard's Hollow. This is on the north end of the park. And you can get out to the beach. The beach is the south end of Long Beach, which is the longest beach in North America. And a lot of people kind of poo-poo that, but it is the longest beach. Anyways, they measured it, so they know it's true. Anyways, it's at the south end of Long Beach, and just before the head where North Head Lighthouse is. And it's just a backwater marsh down here, and I'll show you what it looks like. Right now it's winter, so the shrubs and the trees don't have leaves on them, but it does get really pretty and green in the summertime. One of the really fun things about Cape Disappointment State Park is all the marshy areas. You know, the shore was, this area, the shore was back here, and we're walking to the shore now. And then dunes formed, and then backwater, then water formed, and marsh formed, grasses, and came up with all these little marshy areas. And it's not only in Beard's Hollow, but in the main part of the park too. There's some marshy little areas, and they're really kind of fascinating. They always give me difficulty photographing because they are just so chaotic. So it's hard sometimes to find something, minimize the scene. Ooh, I might see something. Sometimes it's really hard to get a good image that's not super chaotic and busy. But it's always a joy to try and figure out what to do and kind of flex your creativity muscles. And I'm gonna try and capture this. I see. Let me turn you around and show you what I'm seeing. So out there is, you see that log that comes, right along here, and then some duckweed, and it's all frozen. We've also got some lily paths that are pointing up, but I'm really going to try and focus on the edge of the end of that log there with all the duckweed and see what I can come up with. Several years ago, while I was walking through Beard's Hollow, I almost stepped on a rough-skinned newt and backed my dog away from it, and then laid on the ground and got the best photo. God, it was amazing. It was, just really cut a part of, wildlife that I had never spotted. And it was, it just it stopped and looked at me, and it had an inchworm hanging out of its mouth, which was super cool. And I just thought it was just an amazing image. And yes, it's actually on my website because it is a really good photo, and I'll pat myself on the back for it. Was named Cape Disappointment from one of the earlier settlers, early explorers, I think Captain Siletz. And he was trying to find the mouth of the Columbia River, but the mouth of the Columbia River is very well hidden, as the river water, as the water from the river flows into the ocean. It goes over several sandbanks. These sandbanks make it very difficult to maneuver and navigate up the river. But as the water was, especially at that time, flowing into the ocean, and the ocean was coming towards the river over these sandbanks, all you saw is ridge after ridge after ridge of wave. So Captain Siletz thought, well, this was really disappointing. He thought this cape would be somewhere near, somewhere where he'd be able to find the mouth of the Columbia, and did not. Well, it was actually the mouth of the Columbia, but because he was disappointed, he's called it Cape Disappointment. But I will tell you one thing, I am never disappointed when I come down here for photography. And that's our short little visit to Beard's Hollow at Cape Disappointment. Don't worry, there's more to come. And just to remind you, there's just so much to photograph. We only spent an hour here walking along the Discovery Trail, and there's just such cool things to photograph. So hang on, and we will see the next spot soon. Of course, no trip to Cape Disappointment is ever complete until you stop to see the lighthouses. And behind me is the Cape Disappointment Lighthouse. And this is the famous lighthouse that has the cliffs, as you can see the cliffs behind me. And at king tides especially, you can get waves that come and just crash upon those cliffs and fly up and fly out, and they're smashing against each other, and they're curling and they're twirling, and it's just absolutely beautiful. And I have photographed those, and it's cool. It's just cool to see. It's cool to photograph, and I would encourage you to do it, because you got to do it just once. Although at king tides, if you get here, you're going to be standing shoulder to shoulder with about a couple of hundred of your closest photographic buddies that you've never met before, because it is so popular to come out here to see that spectacle. And even just people who aren't all that interested, they just want to see the spectacle. They come out here. And I think I just got something poking me. Right now the waves are coming in beautifully, and I'm gonna try and get some photos of the waves. They're not, those massive waves, but they're really nice and gentle waves, and I kind of like them. And so I'm going to try and get some photos of those, and then we're going to go. I don't know if we're going to get much of a sunset. There's a big bank of clouds west of us, and it's getting a little dark. So I might go out to the end, towards the jetty, but really, ooh, there's some really cool clouds over there. But really, I'm just going to kind of focus here for a little while, and if we do end up getting any color, then I'll get that too. So I ended up putting a neutral density filter on. I don't even know which one I grabbed. I just tossed one on to really slow down the waves, and it's really coming up with this beautiful ethereal look. And I'm just absolutely loving it. Plus we're getting, at times, getting some really beautiful wave action. So I'm just having fun photographing this, you know, woo, the North Jetty. I'm just having fun here, and because it's just a lot of fun to capture these waves. After last night's trip to Waikiki Beach and those beautiful waves, and oh, it was just a really nice trip. This morning we were climbing up Mackenzie Head, which is just north of Waikiki Beach. It's heading towards the campground of the park, and it's one of those little known destinations. There's a trail up here, and it's part of the Lewis and Clark Trail. The story is that Captain Clark, after crossing Cape Disappointment, climbed this hill, and this is where he first saw the Pacific Ocean. And they knew, Lewis and Clark knew, that their 18-month journey to find the Northwest Passage was over. Now, they didn't find the Northwest Passage because there really isn't one, but they crossed the United States and into what would become Washington State. And they found the Pacific Ocean, and they stayed in this area for quite a while. But so we're going to go to the top of the hill and see the spot that Lewis and Clark saw the Pacific Ocean from. Right now, I'm just really admiring the view from halfway up. It's just really pretty. And I can see the Cape Disappointment Lighthouse. I'm going to see if I can get a good photo of that from here. We're at the top of Mackenzie Head, where Captain Clark first saw the Pacific Ocean and was thrilled about finally coming to an end of their journey westward. Of course, they still had to get back, but what's behind me is there is an old fort. Most of this fort is down by the Cape Disappointment Lighthouse, but this is part of Fort Canby, and Fort Canby was originally built during the Civil War to protect the Columbia River from the traitorous Confederate States. And so they built this, and it was actually used through World War II, and then it was decommissioned and basically given to Washington State Parks. But I love that it's just kind of a really cool surprise when you come up here, because you don't, especially if you hang out down by the lighthouse, you don't know this is here, and there's really nothing to say that down by the road to say that this is here. But let's explore this a little bit. And there's this is really cool over here. Come over here. This is one of the old gun emplacements, and it's now pretty much just a pond with a hole in the middle, and it's just kind of really cool. And I've been trying to get a good photo of this for years, and that's what I'm up here to do today, is to play around with it some more. Now this is interesting. You used to not be able to come in here. Ooh. And oh, you look at that, you can actually get to the other side. Let's go through. Careful of any rotten wood on the floor. Oh, these places creep me out. At Fort Casey, there's a fort like this up at on Whidbey Island that in October they take part of the fort and they make it into a haunted house. And I volunteered to help them out a couple of times. It was really fun, but still, these places creep me out, partially because of that, partially because they're dark and creepy, and partially because my sister used to try and lock me into those as a kid. But, all right, look, there's the other side. Oh, I've never been over here. This is so cool. How exciting is this? This gun emplacement doesn't seem to be as filled with water, but still. Oh, I wonder if you can get a photo of this though. Oh, that might be a really kind of cool right there. Not liking this dark that's on the left over here, but I like these trees. I like maybe a little off center, getting rid of that, but having those trees in it. Oh, let's try that.